What's going on, everybody? This is Dave from Post Rock Promo. I'm here with Mark from Quietly Into the Night from Gourock, Scotland. How's it going, Mark?
I'm good, Dave. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thank you for asking. Really appreciate you coming on. Let's jump right into it. So, when and how did you guys form?
So the band formed 2 years back now. Um, the core of the band is myself and Graham Allen. We've been friends since our teenage years, and we've been in multiple bands together over that time as well. He's a solo performer in his own right, and he's been in many bands as well. And he's one of these kind of multi-instrumentalist kind of guys. So he's jumped on the drums for this project, which is brilliant. He's really enjoying it, and I'm enjoying having him on the drums as well. We've also got Stephen Stewart involved as well. Again, Stephen was in the very first band I was ever in. Me and Stephen's brother were really good pals in school, and Stephen jumped in on bass to help us out with that first ever band we did. Him and Graham were in a band together for a long time when they were young, and again, he's one of the best bass players I know, so it's amazing to have him on board as well. And recently we've been lucky enough to be joined by Colin Beeden on guitar as well. Colin is, I think it's fair to say, I bullied Colin into joining the band. I've been wanting another guitar to sort of bolster what I'm doing, and there just isn't that many people around where we stay that are into shoegaze and dream pop in general. And then I discovered that we both shared a love of Dinosaur Jr. and Explosions in the Sky, because I'm quite into my post-rock stuff. And we just get talking, and I was like, right, he's got a jazz master, he's got effects pedals, he's into all this stuff, he's joining the band. So I harangued him until he joined. So we've had a practice now, and it's going well.
That's awesome, man. So, you guys released Moving Static in November. How's the response been?
Response has been absolutely wonderful from you guys over in the States. You've really taken to it, which has been really heartwarming. We were kind of worried about the response that we get, given the length of the song, the structure of it is a bit odd. It's kind of like a kind of indie song in the middle of two post-rock songs, if you know what I mean, structurally. But no, it's been great. We've had fantastic support from my family at DKFM. They've really bolstered around us and given us quite a few plays. We've had some plays in another couple of stations as well. So, as I say, across the pond, it's been absolutely fantastic. We've been really grateful for the messages we've been getting as well.
Very cool. So, who did you record it with, and how was the process?
So hang on a minute, this is 2021, so 2 years ago, we got together and we thrashed out, I think it's something like 3 or 4 songs in the practice room over, I don't know how many months we practiced that. And we got to a stage where we were ready to record. We were very lucky in as much as there's a college in our town with a fantastic recording suite, and the music lecturer's a very good friend of ours. And Andrew got us in, got us one of the students wanted some practice behind the desk, so we were kind of their practice band, and we got pretty much all the guitar tracks done for Moving Static. We got the drums for Moving Static, and the next week was going to be vocals and bass, and that would have been it, nailed. And that was the week that we went into lockdown. So Moving Static was shelved pretty much, and that was in February or March. And it got to the point where they relaxed the rules a little bit towards the end of the year. So we got back in with masks on into the practice room, and we just got a laptop in, and we got the bass down on the laptop, and same with the vocals. We did that, and then Graham mixed and mastered everything for us, and we got it up on the Bandcamp because we're not sitting on this, we're just going to get it out there, because the original plan was we'd do these 4 songs as an EP. So there's still a plan to get something of length out, whether it be an EP or an album, whether that'll be this year or next year. I would say probably longer term, as we find our feet.
Very cool. So you're from Gourock, Scotland. How's the music scene there? Do you have a favorite venue, local band?
So Gourock is part of Inverclyde, which is sort of Gourock, Greenock, Glasgow, and Greenock is kind of the core town, if you like, in amongst it all. And there's been many bands over the years. It's a very musical area. There's a kind of affinity with Manchester here, so the Manchester music scene had a massive influence on a lot of the bands around here, and especially the Stone Roses, I would say. And that was down in no small part to Andrew, actually, who I mentioned earlier. He used to manage a band called Whiteout, who were on Silvertone with the Stone Roses, and they toured with Oasis in the early days, switching around nights, taking the headline slot. So he brought all those records back up here and played them at his nights when he was doing sort of nightclub DJing. But yeah, a favourite band, Whiteout, they're always going to be one of my favourite bands that have ever come out of this area. The band that just missed out because of Oasis. It was one of those 2 bands was going to make it, and Oasis just got the break, unfortunately. It's a shame because the Whiteout were fantastic. More recently, though, I think my favourite band, just because of how musically adventurous they were, how different they were to everything else that was going on, was My Latest Novel. Now, My Latest Novel got signed to Bella Union, who's Simon Ramon's label from Cocktail Twins, and they put 2 albums out with them, and it's hard to describe their sound, but very dense lyrical content, and multi-layered instruments going on, very well thought out, and thematically, the second album is just unparalleled. It's called Deaths and Entrances. It's absolutely stunning. So if anybody out there's not heard My Latest Novel, I'd urge you to go and check them out.
Absolutely. You'll have to send me their music after this.
I will do.
So who are your biggest influences?
Years ago, I used to DJ and put bands on around here. I was a promoter for a while as well, just strictly amateur promoter. And when I first started, I never had any sort of vinyl at all. I used to have to chase about the charity shops, picking up what I could. And I remember going into a charity shop once, and I picked up this kind of album. It had a red, a pink cover with a fuzzy guitar finger on it. I didn't have a clue what it was. Got it home, put it on, and wasn't too sure what that was, but Loveless by My Bloody Valentine soon became pretty much my world. It was just the most important album ever, and it still is. Behind me in the wall, I've got a massive big poster of it to this day framed, and I think I've got about 3 or 4 copies of it on vinyl over there, just because it's the greatest album. So My Bloody Valentine are huge influences. The sort of the more kind of poppy side of me, because I do like pop music as well. I think I'm probably driven by the likes of the Byrds and the Beach Boys for that kind of harmony driven sound, which I love. Also, I mentioned them earlier, Dinosaur Jr., and I think Sugar to a certain extent. Bob Mould has just got a knack for producing a chorus, and his choruses are just to die for. And he does it with ease, it's every single his most recent solo stuff is just exquisite. It really is. And recently, I say recently, when you get to my age, everything sort of in the last sort of 5 or 10 years is recent, I've discovered post-rock now. I was actually into post-rock for a long time. I didn't realise it because I'm a Sigur Rós fan. I never realised Sigur Rós fit into this category called post-rock. So I've loved them for ages, but Mogwai, who are from just up the road in Glasgow, absolutely love them. And as I mentioned, Explosions in the Sky are just fantastic as well. I'm just finding more and more through the Facebook groups I'm in, and through speaking to people in those groups. It's a great community.
I agree. That's awesome, man. So if you could tour with one of those bands, which band?
Oof. Well, just to actually see his pedal board, it'd have to be My Bloody Valentine. His Kevin Shields pedal board is something to behold. I'd also love to see Belinda's Mustang. It's an amazing looking guitar. I love for the fact that she's put the Fender tremolo on the back of it rather than the stock bridge. Stock tailpiece, I think is fantastic. That's one of those holy grail guitars that maybe one these days alone.
Yeah, it'd be really hard to turn down touring with My Bloody Valentine.
Yeah, I mean, you'd have to accept that you would go deaf. You'd have to accept
well,
that
that's where
fact.
Earplugs come into play.
I don't think earplugs would help you, honestly.
You'll lose your hearing.
Well, my hearing's not the best, if I'm honest. Been in bands all my life and been in practice rooms strumming away. Thankfully, most of that time is spent on acoustic guitar, but still, it has taken its toll. I find myself saying "what" quite a lot these days.
Yeah, I haven't seen them live, but I've heard that they're really freaking loud live. Them and Mogwai.
I have seen Mogwai live. I went to see them at an open air festival just before, well, I think it's a good while before lockdown actually. They were supporting The Cure in Glasgow, and they were monstrously live, monstrously loud even, sorry. Just absolutely amazing show, absolutely amazing. So yeah, I definitely want to see Mogwai again.
Very cool. So now I'm going to ask you some non-music questions. It's a good way for me to get to know you. I did this with the other bands I interviewed. Are you ready?
Born ready, my friend, born ready.
Heck yeah. First one. Favorite season?
These days, summer. Just because I love the sunshine.
All about the heat and the sun.
If you'd asked me years ago, I'd have said winter because that's when my birthday and when Christmas is.
The two best days of the year.
Yeah, absolutely.
Would you rather hang with pirates or ninjas for a weekend?
Oh, well, it's got to be ninjas, isn't it? Me and my son, I'm always ask him what he wants to be when he grows up, and one of the things he says, he's only 6, but he wants to go to ninja school. So I'll probably go with him, obviously, to polish up my own ninja skills. So yeah, it's got to be ninja.
That's awesome. You'll be a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle.
He could, yes, absolutely. I could be Splinter or something, couldn't I?
If you go back in time and talk to one world leader or person of influence, who would it be?
Good question. Who would I go back and talk to? That's a good question. I don't know. I mean, I'm really fascinated by Scottish history. So maybe go back and talk to Robert the Bruce or William Wallace or something like that.
Heck yeah, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of my favorite movies of all time, Braveheart.
Aye, there's a lot of factual inaccuracies in that one, but his accent just cracks me up every time. Freedom!
If you had $1 million, you could donate to any charity. Which charity?
Well, there's loads of charities that are really rating. So can I split it across a couple?
You can split it up.
Okay, so our local hospice, definitely their Gowan hospice, I'd definitely give them half of it. And because of all the help they've given me over the years, I'd give the other half to the Scottish Epilepsy Association. I've been epileptic since birth, and they really helped me in my teenage years, got me stabilised, and I haven't had a fit since then. So it'd have to be those two, I think.
Very cool. If you could be fluent in another language, what language?
This is something that Facebook throws up time and time again, especially in the shoegaze world, because you're speaking to so many people from all over the world that it kind of shames you when you realise that, you know, I only know one language, and there's people out there that speak English like it's their first language, and it's not, it's their second language, you know. I'm fascinated by Japanese, the sound of it, the cadence of it, the written word. It's just how different it is to every other language out there. So I think Japanese is something I'd love to learn.
Can you say anything in Japanese?
Nothing at all, and I'm not even going to try. It's so complex. I mean, I've watched a lot of Japanese movies over the years. I love the Japanese horror films. So I think that's where it's come from. That kind of, I just love how it kind of rolls. It's kind of accents and languages. I've got this kind of, like the US accent. It doesn't matter where it is. I love the American accent. I love Irish accents. Again, north and south. It's just the Welsh accent's great. I just love accents.
I'm with you, man. Like, I've talked to a lot of my European friends about this, and friends from other countries, and I was just telling them that I love accents, especially in music. I love when bands don't sing in English. I love when I can hear, you know, Scottish accent, an Irish accent, a Japanese accent. And, like, to me, it keeps things interesting, it keeps things fresh.
Agreed. There's a band I got introduced to not long ago called Frightened Rabbit, and the singer there, really the late Scotch, and he really kind of embraced his Scottish accent when he was singing, and he's influenced so many people because of it now. There's a whole brace of bands coming about that are taking his lead, and it's a great thing, I think.
Yours is amazing, by the way.
Oh, stop it.
Your accent. It's funny when people tell me that I have an American accent, and I'm just like, like, I don't know, like, what that's supposed to be. Like, I don't know what that's supposed to sound like. But it was funny, like, when I was over in Europe in 2014 and 2015 touring with some small UK bands, they they did their impersonation of me. I'm like, no, that is not what I sound like. It's like, it sounds like I'm from freaking California. It's like, no, there's no way that I sound like that. They're like, no, that's really how you sound to us. And I'm like, huh, all right, like, to each his own.
Whereabouts are you from?
Hershey, Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania, yeah.
Coast.
Now you're gonna have to school me. Whereabouts in the geography of America is Pennsylvania?
It's on the East Coast. I am an hour and a half, 2 hours from Philadelphia. I'm an hour and a half from Baltimore, 2 hours from Annapolis, Washington, D.C., 3 hours from New York City, three and a half hours from Pittsburgh. So I'm really centrally located.
Philly's seen something else at the moment. I've been listening to a lot of sort of Chicago and Philly bands. That seems to be my two areas in the States where my musical tastes seem to be leading me at the moment. Like Chicago's got loads of great music happening. The Fire Talk Records, I've got some great bands. Of course, Philly's got nothing, hasn't it? And the like, and the DX as well, just put some stuff out. So it seems like you're spoiled for choice.
Yeah, Chicago has a amazing scene, and Philadelphia does too. All those cities that I just said have good music scenes.
Fantastic.
All right, man. Last question. What are some places in Gourock that visitors should check out?
So, Gourock has got one of the country's only outdoor pools. So it's right on the river's edge. So you could go and have a dip in our outdoor pool. Then once you've done that, you could go and take a walk up to Tower Hill, which will give you a grand view all around the River Clyde as it turns into the Firth of Clyde round the corner. You can watch all the boats and all the naval ships going up and down the river. Then perhaps you could dip down into Gourock and go for a pint or a wee drinky in one of our many hostelries. Far too many to mention. Doing a pub crawl in Gourock used to be the stuff of legend. If you could make it from one end to the other, it changed you. And then you can come up to mine for your tea afterwards.
You'll have to take me to all those places when I get over there.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely.
That was on my bucket list, man. Like that's one country that I really want to go to. Unfortunately, I didn't get to go to Scotland when I was over in Europe last time. So maybe the next time I'll head over there and you can show me around.
Definitely, you need to get yourself to Glasgow too, because there's some really cool venues, like King Tut's and the Barrowlands, and we'll show you where all they are.
Yeah, I've heard Glasgow. I've heard great things about Glasgow. I've heard great things about Edinburgh, or however you say it.
No, you're spot on. Edinburgh and Glasgow. Yeah,
they said it wrong.
No, not at all. No, you're absolutely spot on. I mean, you get all sorts of pronunciations like Glasgow and Edinburgh. There's another one that we tend to hear, but no, Edinburgh and Glasgow, you're spot on.
I'm not trying to sound like a typical American.
No, it's. Oh, sorry. What's happened there? Back to me. There we go. Sorry about that. No, not at all. You absolutely nailed it. You need to try your Scottish accent as well.
I don't know about that. Maybe after the interview.
Okay.
Well, I really appreciate you, man, coming on and chatting it up. I really appreciate you supporting me in post-rock promo.
No, anytime. You're doing great work. Keep it up.
Means a lot to me, man. We'll talk soon. I hope you have a great day.
You too, Dave. See you later, pal. Bye-bye.